In the past few videos on the YouTube channel, we've all been discussing how Newcastle United's January transfer window looks like it's going to be a very remote one. Well, today it's all heated up and it looks like it's going to be the compound opposite of remote. Bayern Munich boss Thomas Tuchel has shown a lot of interest in Kieran Trippier and wants him to come and sort out his right-back problems at Bayern Munich, of course. This is quoted by Craig Hope, not me, of course. Craig Hope is a journalist, and he said that Joelinton may have played his last ever game for Newcastle United amid contract sort of disagreements. Now, for me personally, we will get into that later, but I believe that is a bit over the top. Newcastle United are looking into Everton's Amadou Onana. Yet again, we've been linked with them previously, and this is a bit harsh, but Newcastle United are finally looking to sell some dead wood. This is all the transfer news from today. Of course, let's take a look. Right then, lads and lasses, how we're doing, and welcome back to the channel. Like I said, so much news today, and probably, I know I said this the other day, but this has definitely took it over. It's the biggest news video ever on the channel, so make sure to get down there and like the video if you will enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I kid you not when I say I've recorded this video over 50 times, 55 times to be exact. I've sat here since 9 AM this morning, so please like the video for the hard work and effort I've seriously put into this video. Now, enough waffling, let's get into the news today, and of course this is by Jamal Lascelles, who does look to be off his way to Besiktas. This is given to us by a Turkish journalist with over 1.1 million followers on the platform X. He has said Besiktas have given Newcastle United an official offer for Jamal Lascelles, no fees being disclosed. Now, for me personally, of course, Kieran Trippier also may be on his way to Bayern Munich, which we'll get onto later. Is it worth selling Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Trippier? If that does so happen, that's two of the biggest leaders in the squad. That's going to leave a very big blow for Newcastle United. Of course, we still do have the likes of Sean Longstaff, who's a Geordie, knows the club inside out. May not have that exact leadership trait yet, but Dan Burn definitely does. He's a Geordie, he's experienced, he's one of the most respected members in the squad, but still it would leave a very big blow for Newcastle, especially when them two are so experienced. Jamal Lascelles as well, experienced at Newcastle United. But that's all we've got on Jamal Lascelles. Would you sell him? In my opinion, he's been fantastic cover this season. He's really stepped up his game this season ahead of Botman, and he genuinely didn't look like Botman was missing whatsoever. Of course, Botman is 10 times the player that Jamal Lascelles is. His ball playing attributes, everything, Botman is probably better at. Maybe he lacks that little bit of physicality, although he is very physical, but Jamal Lascelles, he's absolutely massive, isn't he? So Jamal Lascelles may be on his way to Besiktas, and speaking of players on their way, it looks like Javier Manquillo is going to be the first player out of the door for Newcastle United this January transfer window, and it does look like it's done because we've seen him at Celta Vigo's headquarters. I won't show the video because I normally just like showing myself and the sort of news that I give you on the video, but if you haven't seen it already, it's on my Instagram, the video of him genuinely walking through Celta Vigo's headquarters. Of course, ex-Newcastle United manager's side, Rafa Benitez. Now, for me personally, Javier Manquillo, he's been a very good servant. At the time of recording, he hasn't left yet, but he might have actually officially left, so I apologise if this is out a little bit later than I expected. But Javier Manquillo has been a fantastic servant for Newcastle United, hasn't he? I mean, he's got a quick turn of pace. Some may say they remembered him for that sort of run and that Chelsea goal at Leeds away, but for me, it's got to be that goal at Old Trafford where we did get beat 4-1 on Ronaldo's return. But 4.3 million euros, I believe we got him for from Atletico Madrid. Did have a loan spell at Sunderland as well. He's been a solid servant for Newcastle United. That's that out of the way. On to the big news. Quoted by Craig Hope last night, this was approximately 19 hours ago of recording. Joelinton could have played the last game for Newcastle United amid contract standoff. We do know that he's got an injury which Eddie Howe said would have kept him out for 6 weeks at least, but now he's out for the whole season. Of course, if he does proceed with his surgery, which in my opinion, yes, he's still going to be a big miss, but he does need to go for that surgery, doesn't he? We can't just risk anything like Sven Botman, who now, his knee may now be a sort of ticking time bomb where it could just go off anywhere because of the bad sort of medical treatment that we'll have given. He was meant to be coming back one date, then another. It just hasn't been too great with Harvey Barnes and Sven Botman in the medical department. Now Joelinton, 18 months left. 18 months is left on his sort of contract right now. It does run out next summer. Is it going to be solved in time? Craig Hope has genuinely said it may be his last ever game for Newcastle United. Now, for me personally, yet again, that is very over the top. We've got 6 months until he's even got a year left on his contract. I believe this can easily be sorted out. Now, of course, was it in 2019 we signed Joelinton for a 5-year deal or a 6-year deal, one of the two? I mean, he deserves a higher wage, doesn't he? The club are saying that they can't agree on wages now because Joelinton is a lot higher. We signed Joelinton for £40 million, the club record fee at the time, and by God, he's deserved this right now. Eddie Howe was the main catalyst for that, but by God, he deserves to be paid a lot more money. I mean, I think Matthew Target is on 100 grand a week, and Joelinton's on 85 grand a week. That says it all, really, doesn't it? Joelinton definitely deserves an upgrade. We literally signed him as a striker who couldn't finish, and honestly, probably the most aggravated I've ever been when he was a striker at Newcastle United. And now he is one of the best players we've ever had in that midfield position. He definitely deserves a wage upgrade, in my opinion, 100%. You let me know down below if you'd sort of give Joelinton that appreciative and sort of gratitude to give him a new wage deal, in my opinion, 100%. Now, moving swiftly on, because I don't want to blab for too long, this is of Kieran Trippier. This is a report by the Chronicle and later on, Fabrizio Romano, that Bayern Munich are interested in Kieran Trippier. Now, this one is a very, very bizarre one. Do we sell him right now as a 33-year-old, which may be the last year we can ever get something for him? Or is it too late? It's in January. This may be a very defining season. Can we get Europe? Well, with the Carabao Cup and the Champions League, we're now, is it 10th we are now? What can we actually have to play for, while also Wolves and Bournemouth do still have games on in hand on us? So we really do need to keep Kieran Trippier, in my opinion, right now. If we were going to sell him, would we even get £20 million for him at his age of 33 years old? For me personally, I believe he's so much more important to Newcastle United than getting a fee for him. And what we will get onto later is how we've actually got freedom to spend this sort of money while being linked to Amadou, yes it is, I was going to say Andre Onana there, Everton's Amadou Onana, who would cost nothing less of £50 million. We are also going to have a look at the deal that is proposed by Newcastle United, and it's not a transfer fee, we will just say that. But yes, Bayern Munich wants star Kieran Trippier. Now, yet again, I'm not just going to keep saying it again, but I don't believe we should sell Kieran Trippier whatsoever. He's so important to Newcastle United right now, 33 years old. We're not going to get a massive fee for him. You let me know down below if you would sell Kieran Trippier. But nah, not for me personally. The leadership that he brings, the experience that he brings, the set pieces, the crosses, the free kicks, he's just too important for Newcastle United. And if we were to sell him, what would we sell him for? 10, 15 million pounds? Not for me personally. I do believe that Bayern Munich are 100% interested, and we are going to get onto this as well. This is reported by, I believe it's Florian Plettenberg, who is the Sky Sports sort of journalist in Germany, and he said that Bayern Munich want Kieran Trippier on a loan deal. What? There's no way in hell that ever happens for Newcastle United. What sort of deal would that benefit us for, to give Kieran Trippier, even if it's a loan for obligation, which if he doesn't meet certain criteria, he just comes back to Newcastle United, and what? We've missed him for 6 months, we've missed his services for 6 months, and we've not got no financial gain whatsoever. It's a bit daft, so you can probably write Kieran Trippier on a loan deal to Bayern Munich off 100%, but the transfer may still be there, as Thomas Tuchel is definitely a very big admirer of Kieran Trippier. Now, moving on to Amadou Onana, which I've got something personally to say on the matter. This is a report by Luke Edwards, who we've reported on him before, and I don't want to hack the lad. Of course, I don't really like I wouldn't say bringing people down, but he hasn't been right on some of the things that we've reported before. And I know you may take offence to that, but yet again, I don't mean anything by that. He has said, exclusive, Newcastle United are looking into signing Everton's Amadou Onana to solve midfield problem. Now, 100% we've got a midfield problem on our hands now. And if we did sign Amadou Onana, he would solve that 110%. He's very physical. He's a bit like a Joelinton, although I do believe Joelinton is 100 times more important to Newcastle United, as of now, of course, and is a better player. But Amadou Onana, he's very physical. The thing is with him though, I've only ever watched him live once, and that's when we went to Goodison Park last season, and Isak got that fantastic assist. We won 4-1, and Amadou Onana, he was just anonymous in that game. James Garner, the 21-year-old, was 10 times the player that he was, and I think he came on as a substitute as well. Amadou Onana, for me, I don't know if you'd personally take him at Newcastle United, but for me, I definitely take him at Newcastle, especially right now. But what does the future hold ahead from? We've looked at targets like Calvin Phillips at the past. If we did sign Calvin Phillips on a sort of permanent deal now, that's still Joelinton, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock, who are 4 better midfielders than Calvin Phillips right now. So would it be a bit of a rush deal to get Calvin Phillips in? And then his future is pretty much unknown, because of course we can only play with 3 in midfield. Maybe Joelinton and Joe Willock going off to the left wing and sort of doing that little interchange what they normally do, and that is very, very crucial in Newcastle United. It's a very good little attribute what we do have, but of course we can't use it at the minute, especially with Joelinton being out for the season. That is an unbelievable miss. But Amadou Onana, the main question which I haven't even got onto yet, how on earth can we afford him? If we can't afford Calvin Phillips for £7.5 million it was for 6 months loan deal, which yes, I do kind of agree, that's a deal we don't want to be going anywhere near. For the calibre of player we would have got, for the length of time we would have got, 6 months for Calvin Phillips, for £7.5 million, Man City would definitely exploit our situation for a weakness there, 110%. But if it's been built up by so many people that our FFP struggles, we can spend, what, £10 million or something like that. It's been so heavily sort of talked about that we can't spend anything whatsoever. Then why on earth are we looking at Amadou Onana? Would I take him at Newcastle United? 110%, especially with the sort of absences we've got in midfield right now. But how on earth can we buy him when we're so restricted by financial fair play? Honestly, I don't think the actual figure for how much we can actually spend in financial fair play will ever get released, but it's just mind-boggling me right now. Joel Blanders also said something on the Amadou Onana situation. He's just given a little bit of insight on it. He said this, as reported, Amadou Onana has been high on Newcastle United's recruitment list list for a very, very long time. Since last summer, the club are now considering making a move for the player as an alternative for Calvin Phillips. Club will look to do an initial loan with obligation. Now, off first bat, would Everton want to lose Amadou Onana on an initial loan with obligation to buy? Now, I can look at it 2 points. If Everton didn't get that sort of what may now turn out to be a 20 points deduction, of course, I've got a 10, and they are looking at a further points deduction due to financial fair play breaches, they may have to do it now to get the funds, and because they are in a very, very bad spot, they may have to sort of be forced to do that loan obligation to buy. But for me personally, if they weren't in that situation, of course I wouldn't be doing that. Why would they want to lose their arguably best player by a long mile to a loan with obligation? It would give them no benefit whatsoever unless he did hit that criteria, which he can be expected to play in Newcastle United week in, week out right now, especially with the absences of right now Sandro Tonali, Joelinton, Elliot Anderson. Honestly, the list goes on, and it's really bad for Newcastle. But if we can get Amadou Onana in, it's a very, very big plus for me personally. I would love to see him at Newcastle United, but I just can't see it happening with a loan to obligation. Of course, the exploitation of that would be Everton's sort of financial fair play situation right now. But that's it for Amadou Onana. Back on to Kieran Trippier, and Fabrizio Romano has actually made a tweet on this. So it is very, very concrete. He said, understand Thomas Tuchel has now approved Kieran Trippier as a potential solution for new right back, as I did say before. Favourite target remains Nordi Mukulele. I think he's PSG's right back. Yes, he is PSG's right back. But Trippier becomes a concrete option for Bayern Munich. Now, yet again, I wouldn't want to lose him whatsoever. I've just stated everything why we should keep him. Wouldn't get a big fee for him. It's just complete nonsense for me. Do not sell him whatsoever. When we're talking about sellable assets earlier in the transfer window, of course it was the likes of, you may say Anthony Gordon, but the main three is Botman, Isak and Bruno. I've got that famous chant for them. Kieran Trippier's 33 years old. He's as important as them. Some may say, of course, they've every single one of them have missed some of this season. Kieran Trippier as well due to personal problems, but I wouldn't sell him whatsoever. Seriously, I wouldn't. This is also reported by the sort of journalist or the German Sky Sports reporter, which we did say before, Florian Plettenberg on Twitter, and I can't get my head around this. He said Kieran Trippier has been offered to other clubs in the past few days, including clubs in England by Newcastle United. Is Newcastle trying to offload Kieran Trippier while we can right now since he's 33 years old? It's a big sort of minefield for me. Everywhere we go, I can't get my head around it. This transfer window is one of the most curious and unbelievable ones in a very, very long time. You let me know down below if you would sell Kieran Trippier, but for me, too important right now. Wouldn't demand a high fee right now. He just genuinely is too important, especially in the middle of a season where it's going to be very, I don't know what the word is, very sort of indicative or sort of, it puts out a very big path for when Newcastle United can sort of put our season if we do sell Kieran Trippier in January. Of course, Tino Livramento can come then cover very well, and we've got Emil Kraft, who's been very, very good since he come back, played against Fulham and Chelsea, looked very, very good. I actually wanted him to start at Chelsea, where he did get injured, unfortunately, yet again. Fingers crossed we won't get him back very sooner, ahead of Kieran Trippier. But would you sell Kieran Trippier? You let me know down below. That's it for the video. There's been a lot of news today. I didn't want to blab on too much because I know people don't want to sort of hear the crap, if you do want to say sorry if you don't want to hear that. But I know people don't want to hear the crap, so we've cut it all. We've got into the best news today. You let me know down below all your thoughts on today's transfer news. For me personally, I've just been very, very straight up with it. Without further ado, I've been Geordie Josh. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go and enjoy your day.